And thanks for that, with Sandra. Give her our love. I'd like to mention that today, and if this goes wrong today and everybody falls asleep, it's Andy's fault. He said for me to do Bishop Usher today, and that's what we're doing.
Oh, are we?
We're doing a chronology of Bishop Usher, but we are going to be doing Neolithic. So the way I'm going to do it, we're going to do a session as much as we can on Bishop Usher, and just before David gets totally fed up and bored, we will go on to do a Neolithic after break. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a two-pronged lecture today. So it is actually live now. So I would like to know, other than Sandra, Peter, and if you could try and keep it a little bit brief, everybody, because we didn't start until 8:05 last week. But I'd just like, Pete, anything you'd like to tell us this week?
No, I'm fine. No, you carry on. Okay,
right. What we're going to do is we're going to have the two girls, and actually, I'm got to be honest with you now. Drina and Margaret will be my two online sheep, because if anyone actually follows me on TikTok, they will know that I talk about my sheeps and my girls, right? So Drina and Margaret are my new sheeps online. They're sheeps with an S on the end, not sheep. That's Jeremy Clarkson. Have you got anything that you'd like to say, you two?
No. Can we not be girls rather than sheeps? Please.
Right, hang on. Right, let's just run that past me again. What do you prefer to be?
You said you have your girls and you have your sheeps. I'm just wondering why we're under the heading of sheeps.
Oh no, my girls. No, my girls are my sheeps, because I got 6 sheep. They're my girls.
He's very confused.
Yeah.
I'm actually, Andy, I'm very confused now, because I don't know what the hell they're on about. Right, so Drina and Margaret, you got no news this week. That's good. It all helps. Andy, anything you'd like to tell us other than controversy down caves and Paleolithic and Mesolithic? Anything you'd like to say, Andy?
No, there's a conference at Lancaster University, 50th archaeology conference thing on the 3rd of March. It's just a half day. You need to book online. If I tried to send it to you, Margaret, but I got the wrong email address. It didn't like it, and I think I've sent it to you. Drina, have you had it?
You sent it to me, yeah.
I'm offline, okay. Andy, because my friend is allergic to Wi-Fi.
Okay.
So that's why I'm at Drina's. I'm offline just now.
I tell you what, this lecture's really breaking down big time.
Check the details with Drina and book it if you want to go.
Yeah.
I think Claire's going to go. So.
Oh right.
Is this actually online, this one, or is it?
It is online as well. Yeah, you can do it online, but it's at the university. We've all been to it before. It was quite good last time.
Okay.
No.
Andrew Burley's going to be there, and Jess from Silverdale. I don't know, you might know her, but she's Oxford Archaeology North. She's talking on something as well. So
I didn't think Andrew Burley was still alive. Right, okay, then that's fine. Brilliant, excellent. Right, who else? Anne, tell us something. Anne, tell us something about the loves and lives of a woman living in a cottage.
Yeah, kind of that. I've been crying today in front of the news television. So, and just before I came, so sometimes it gets me like that.
Right, Turkey, yeah.
You know, so I'm got anything else than that. I'm just too upset about the news. What's happening in the earthquakes?
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Those buildings must be very poorly built.
Well, actually, in defence of the Turkish builders, they've actually learned a lot, and they've actually been.
Cyprus. Yeah.
This was something like a Richter 6 or 7, wasn't it? And no building can stand up against that. So they have put building standards in, and it's just not worked.
It was nearly 8.
Buildings are standing when the building in between them has gone.
Yeah, well, that's how it goes, though.
Yeah. The main problem is I read some books about this sort of thing a long time ago, and the reason there are far more deaths and growing is that we put people into high-rise buildings.
Yeah.
Much more concentrated, and that's why, with the growing population and high-rise buildings, this is what's the result of it. And when I was watching it out at the news, it was just so awful. Yeah. Anyway.
Right, let's try and keep this positive. Let's brighten you up a bit, Anne. That's
Yeah,
what we need
I
to
need
do.
brightening up. I hope it's
you
going to
need
be
brightening
fun
up.
today.
Right, so who else have we got here now? So one of the boys, right? Adam, anything you'd like to tell us this week?
Yeah, nothing other than I saw that the Thornborough Henges have come off a at-risk register, which I saw today.
And I'll just remind us that the Thornborough hedges, which we will be doing in the near future, I was reminded about that the other day. We have actually done the Thornborough hedges. There's been lots of plough damage and stuff to them, but yeah, thanks for carry on, Adam.
Oh, that's all right. And I saw the road going through the middle, and it reminded me of Avebury, where they've just put a road through the middle. Whose idea is that?
Maybe they're Romans.
It's usually the Romans. Blame it on the Romans, even though it wasn't the Romans at all. Somebody on one of these Facebook pages the other day, somebody was talking about, Suetonius Paulinus massacres on sort of Anglesey and Druids and all the rest of it. And I basically said, I'm not going to use the same language. This is a load of, because there's no archaeological evidence to say these massacres ever took place. It's taken the word of one single writer. So when you actually take that down to sort of the relevance of henges and so on, and who makes the decisions, it's usually one person.
Those Thornborough Henges are now actually open to the public as well. It was private land before.
Yeah, that's right. They weren't exactly,
yeah.
Andy.
Which is
Andy's
great.
Right. Which is great. It truly is great. I agree. Right. Okay. Who else have we got here? What about Peter C?
No, I'm good this week. I don't have anything. I enjoyed your Roman. Well, I enjoyed your Roman road video, and it reminded me of this year in Calstock nearby, where they accidentally found a little Roman fort. They also found a mine. I think is it a lead mine nearby. And there's a trackway between them, but of course they're just calling it a Roman road. And I think I've seen one picture of it, and it is just like a lighter coloured bit of dirt next to a darker coloured bit of dirt.
Yeah. There was something else on the news recently. I couldn't be bothered to read it, and they said, "Oh, this is definitely a Roman road," and it was just a staining on the ground. And I'm just thinking, right, I'll go with that. Yeah, that makes sense. It's a staining on the ground. And a coin was found alongside it. Yeah, I'll go with that. Right, okay. See, Anne's already brightened herself up. The only person we're lacking... I was going to say the only person we're lacking today is Pat, but she's here. Right, so Pat, tell us something.
No, I don't have anything to say. Yeah, sorry. Move on. Thank you.
And the man himself, David, who actually stumped the girls by actually getting online anyway. David, anything you want to say?
No, thank you. Just get on.
Oh, brilliant. Hey, I tell you what, I should have started off with David. We would have done any of this. Right, okay. It's 10 minutes worth of questions. That's a lot better than last week because it was 15 minutes. So I want us to look at the Bishop Usher this week. And we've mentioned him over and over again throughout the years in every other lecture. And Andy said we've got to look at the Bishop Usher sometime, and I just thought I can't do a whole 2 hours on the Bishop Usher and the chronology, but what I can do is an hour and just chuck some images in you. So that's exactly where we're going to go. So before we actually look at any images, I'm just going to sort of tell you a little bit about who Bishop Usher was, and then we're going to do the chronology stuff. So whilst I'm doing that in the background, I'm just going to get my images ready because I have actually got quite a few images actually. Surprisingly enough, Bishop Usher images. It sounds a bit odd, doesn't it? So we got all those, and I'm just going to get my images up here. Hang on. Where are we? Hang on. Images. Right. Strange enough, it's telling me I haven't got any images. I do. I've got about 15 of them. Right. Okay. So Bishop Usher is supposedly said that the earth began 4,004 years BC, right? So that's where we're going to go. That's what we're going to think of. I have got lots and lots of images, so I'm just going to sort of get these up ready. Right, here we go. I'm just going to make sure I click on that, and it's quite bizarre, this. So, who was Bishop Usher? We need to know something about his background. When I was actually doing the research for this, I actually thought, right, let's just go into the Bishop Usher chronology. But then I realized you've got to know a bit about the man to know why Bishop Usher has come up with this chronology. And I thought, right, that's a very wise thing to do. So first things first, my first mistake in this lecture was I actually thought Bishop Usher was somebody from the continent. I actually thought that he was there was a religious man from sort of somewhere on the continent. Hang on a minute. Are you still there, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute. I've just got something wrong with my screen. Hang on. Oh, that's what it is.
No,
Right, good. Yeah, I'm here. I'm back. Oh, right. Something happened with my. Yeah, I'm good. Got it. First mistake I made was I thought, right, Bishop Usher has got to be somebody from Italy, right? And I didn't realize with a name like Usher, it doesn't sound Italian at all. So then I did a little bit more research, and I thought actually Bishop Usher is actually is an Irish thing there. So James Usher. So first things first. James Bishop Usher, right? He was born on the 4th of January 1581, and he died on the 21st of March 1656. And he. Phil, shut up. 515. You know, I was going to do 515 anyway. And he kept with him throughout his life a statue of Lloyd George. So he was the Church of Ireland Archbishop. He was the Archbishop of Armagh, and he was a primate of all Ireland. What a title! A primate of all Ireland from 1625 to 1656 on the 14th of October at 12:15. So he was a prolific scholar and church leader. So the word prolific scholar tells us that he's out there doing his research and he knew his stuff. Who today is most famous for his identification of the genuine letters of the church father Ignatius of Antioch. And so basically found these sort of genuine letters from Ignatius of Antioch, right? So, okay, we'll put that aside. So he's a learned man. So a learned man enough to be a learned man to come up with a chronology that sought to establish the time and date of the creation as the entrance. And here we go. He said, amazingly enough, the entrance of the night preceding the 23rd day of October in the year 404 years BC. And basically, he had a precise chronology when the Earth was founded, and basically all the sort of foundation stuff, sort of up to 6 p.m. on the 22nd of October in 404 years of BC. Right, so we've got precise dates there. I'm not making it up. I bet you all think I'm making it up. The 23rd day of October, 404 years BC. But that's what he's telling us. That's what he's telling me, right? So, shut up, you. So, amazing enough, he was also Irish. So he was.
Gets so better.
He was also Irish. He was born in Dublin to a well-to-do family. And his maternal grandfather was in fact the Speaker of the Irish Parliament. Whether this has got anything to do with any of this, I do not know. And it goes on to say Usher's younger and only surviving brother Ambrose became a distinguished scholar of Arabic and Hebrew. So it ran in the family, this sort of academia. According to his chaplain and biographer, Nicholas Bernard, the elder brother was taught to read by two blind spinster aunts.
Really? Ooh. Okay.
But I managed to keep it there. I think it's brilliant that you're taught by two blind people. I think that's great.
That explains a lot, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, probably.
Just
No, I think the Irish explains it.
look, just stop. I gotta be honest with you. You're really destroying my lecture, right, by being completely critical of everything I'm saying.
I'm not being critical. I just think it's an amusing story.
Questioning.
I think it's a great story. Shut up.
Oh, it is a great story. And it's funny, isn't it?
So basically, he entered the Dublin Free School, which was newly founded in 1591, and he ended up going to Trinity College Dublin on the 9th of January in 1594 at the age of 13 years old.
God.
So he went to university at 13 years old. Not an unusual age at that time. Okay, fair enough. So I got to work out the maths now. Hang on, I got to work out the maths. So in 1598, he qualified with a Bachelor of Arts. So in 1598, somebody help me with the maths here. 1598, he would have been 17 years old. He had a Bachelor of Arts, right? Got that? Good. I'm glad somebody's taken notice. He had a Master of Arts by the age of 20 in 1600, and it even gets better. He was ordained in the Trinity College Chapel as a deacon. Oh God, this even gets better, right? Trinity College Chapel as a deacon in the Protestant Established Church of Ireland, right? Basically, right, it runs in his family, right, because his uncle was an Archbishop of Armagh and Primate of all Ireland. So this runs in a family. It really
Dynasties.
does. It's a dynasty of stuff, right? So this even gets better. In 1607, he becomes the professor of theological controversies at Trinity College. And oh God, I can't handle this. He becomes a vice chancellor in 1615 of the said college. And he married a woman called Phoebe, who was the daughter of a previous vice provost. And he was closely involved with the drawing up of the first confession of faith of the Church of Ireland. So in other words, there's loads of really interesting stuff going on, and it just sort of goes, it just gets better. What we got to do his death. We'll just get straight on to his death.
Was that funny as well?
Yeah, the stuff in the middle ain't that interesting. So in other words, we've gone all through these years. So he dies in 1656. So let's just go straight to his death. In 1655, Bishop Usher published his book, De Graecae Septuaginta Interpretatum of Visone, which basically is his look at how the world's going, right? And on the 19th of March in the year 1656, right, he felt a sharp pain in his side after supper and took to his bed. His symptoms seemed to have been those of a severe internal hemorrhage. 2 days later, he died, aged 75. His last words were reported as, oh, we got to do this in an Irish accent. Top of the world here, sir.
Ow, this hurts.
What?
Ow, this hurts.
No, he doesn't say that, you silly man at all. He goes on to say, oh, my good old wife. Here we go. Maybe his wife's dead, I don't know. Right, here we go. He goes, oh, Lord, forgive me, especially my sins. Are you still there? Shut up. Look, let me say this. Stop interrupting. Oh, Lord. I'm doing a bloody Dorset accent now. Right, here we go. I have the Irish one there. Top of the world here, sir. Oh, Lord, forgive me, especially my sins of omission. Now, this is supposed to be a bloody holy man. What the hell does that mean? Sins of omission? His body was embalmed and was to have been buried in Reigate.
Why Reigate?
Reigate?
That's near Dublin. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, why the hell Reigate?
Well, he maybe moved. Yes. You missed out the middle bit where he moved. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did we actually work out he moved?
No, we missed that middle bit out. Called his life.
Look, I can't be asked. Here we go.
No.
Right. Oliver Cromwell's insistence, he was given a state funeral on the 17th of April and was buried in the chapel of St. Erasmus in Westminster Abbey.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. We're going to do wow
He
again.
was buried in Reigate, didn't he?
No, he died.
He died there. Okay.
He was meant to be. You two are like those bloody two guys in bloody Sesame Street.
Well, if you're going to get an offer of being buried in Reigate or Westminster Abbey, which you're going to go for?
Oh, no, have you been to bloody Reigate? It's a tip.
Yeah. Mind you, he's dead, isn't he? So he ain't going to know.
It sounds like it should be, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you should be buried in Reigate. Ma, what are you on about? Oh God! Right. Anyway, right. Can we just get on with the blooming lecture? Oh,
Right.
He's had so many work. Right. Basically, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Over 17 books written about his life. So there we go. He's a very popular man. Oh, God. Right, do you know what? I'm going to put some images on. This is too hard for me to cope with tonight. David, wish you hadn't bothered turning up tonight. Right,
I'm
okay.
really pleased that I did. It's really lifted my spirits, this house.
I'm glad it's lifted your
That was
spirits.
needed.
Was it? Right, I'm glad it was. Right, okay. Here we go. Right, Bishop Usher. Let's have a look at the man. Hang on. Why have I got the photograph? There he is.
Yeah.
I tell you what, right? He looks like the type of sort that would be ideal for Margaret.
You like a beard and a tash, I have to say. And a nice ruff. I like his ruff.
You wouldn't like to look after it though.
No.
You like what? You like what, Ruff?
Nice bit of a ruff.
Do you know when we got the boys to like sort of join us in this class, right? They were sold these classes because we'd have the occasional mad evening, and this is where we are. So this man was responsible. You could write a book about this. Carry on, Usher. Right.
Another book is 17 already.
What?
I said another book was 17 already. You said
exactly. So there we go. You can imagine you could actually have like a soap opera, couldn't you? The Usher chronologies. Right. So we know by 1656 he's made his mark in the world, right? He could have been buried at Reigate, but he's buried at Westminster instead. You know, one of you has to do some research to see if he was dug up or not. Because anyone associated with Cromwell was usually dug up. So the Usher chronology, the Usher chronologies, right? This right. This is all his stuff. This is some of his stuff, right? So here we go, and that is the Usher chronology, right? Look at that. It's amazing, isn't it? Genesis. It's got all these people here. Enoch, Powell. You've got Noah.
No.
Noam Chomsky. I can see at the top.
What?
Noam Chomsky at the top of the list.
Yeah.
Noam Chomsky.
Yeah, right, sure. Anyway, you got Noah there, right? And you can see there's the Great Flood. Look, what we're going to do, we're going to do a chronology that I can actually work out because I don't have a clue what the hell I'm doing. Right, that makes more sense. Agreed? Good.
10 fathers before the flood.
The fifth age of the world. It's a bit like writing a book about the. I can't actually. There's a certain person I can't even mention anymore. It's a bit like a certain person, ADALF, Third Reich, right? But this is the fifth age of the world. Do you
The
know what?
The first stage. F
The
is
first-
written like an S.
Yeah, it's the first stage
First
of the
stage,
world.
sorry.
Fifth. Shut
You
up.
got to be right.
Yeah, it is the first stage. Why did I say fifth? Anyway, I don't know what I'm
Because
talking
it's
about. Right. Anyway,
Yeah.
shut up. Right. So the usher chronology. Right. Did I say fifth?
Yes. Yeah.
Twice.
Sorry. No.
The first stage of the world, from the creation to the flood.
Yeah. Hang on. If we're going to do this, right, I do it right. The first age of the world, from the creation to the flood. This space is called early in the morning. You could definitely do a sermon on this, couldn't you? Right. So basically, the usher chronologies is a chronology from the 1600s of the history of the world, formulated from a literal reading of the Old Testament. So in other words, all of this is from the Old Testament, right? And look at all the dates there. It's calculated. There's like, do you remember those things you used to look at? You used to be able to work out how many miles it was to Glasgow or whatever. But yeah, that's what, yeah.
Yeah.
So this man, I tell you what, this Bishop Usher has to be believed, right? And the other thing as well is there are a lot of people who actually still follow this Bishop Usher blokey, right? There is. So this is a man who became the Archbishop of Armagh and primate of all Ireland, right? In the fifth age of the world. No,
In the first stage.
For God's sake.
No, I just wanted to make sure you're awake. The chronology is sometimes associated with young Earth creationists, right? So in other words, you've got creationists, young Earth creationists, right? It's a bit like people who believe in the flat Earth thingamajig, right? Yeah, I've come across some of them, which holds that the universe was created only a few millennia ago. In other words, a few thousand years ago. So in other words, by this chronology, the Earth itself was created only just over 6,000 years ago. And basically all of this holds true when you look at the first two chapters of the biblical book of Genesis. Usher's work fell into disrepute in the 1800s. However, even at the end of the 1800s, people actually still believe religiously in everything that Bishop Usher said. And in fact, I don't know if it was Peter who said that he was in the Natural History Museum and there was an American dad there and the screen and the thing said this dinosaur's like millions of years old, and the dad said no, it can't be, it's only a few thousand years old. Well, anyway, somebody said that. Anyway,
Yeah,
so
they've even got a museum in one of the cities in America showing the dinosaurs together with men, so all put together to prove this Bible understanding was real. That's how old it is. People have got museums to it even today.
Actually, blooming hell, this Anne won't shut up now. But anyway, the point is, I used to have Jehovah's Witnesses knocking the door because they used to have wonderful conversations with me, right? Yeah. I used to get free pens out of them, writing pads, all sorts of things. That's why I spoke to them. Yeah. And even they came over one day with a mobile phone cover, right, which has Jehovah's Witnesses on it. But I needed a Jehovah. Anyway, the point is, I used to have these wonderful discussions with Jehovah's Witnesses, and one of them said, you know the Latolai footprints in Africa, right? Yeah, and the ones of the footprints, our hominid ancestor footprints, and they said if you look a bit further over in the same sort of plane and the same horizon, right, there are dinosaur footprints. That proves that human beings walk the same time as the Earth of the dinosaurs. Right, yeah. Because it basically you've got it in the same level, except the difference is the geology shifted because it's like the Rift Valley, but you know that's something else altogether. But his work itself, the final work was in 1655, but his groundbreaking work itself was, if we go back, here we go, look at it. Don't that look absolutely brilliant? The Annals of the Old and New Testament and Heathen Story to the Destruction. And it's amazing, isn't it? Heathen Story. And there it is, James Usher, Right, so there's various different ways this has actually been published. We got loads of it. Yeah, there we go. Origins of time. Hang on, let's get it. There we go. That's even better, isn't it? So this itself, and the amazing thing is, well, is at this point everyone's using the Gutenberg press from the from the 1440s or whatever it is. So this is now 1650. So the full title of Usher's work. Oh, we got to go through a title. Hang on a minute. Right, there we go. There it is. There it is. That's the full title. So if we put the full title up, the Annals Veteris Testamenti Aya Prima Mundi Original Deducti Una Come Rererum Asatacarum Aet Egyptacarum Chronology A Temporaris Histori Principae Usic. Anyway, you know the type of thing. I'm completely ballsing this up. The annals of it, basically in the English of this, right? Because this is the churchman in Ireland, right? He's speaking in Latin. The Irish don't know what the hell he's saying, but they follow him anyway. But in English, the direct translation of this is the annals of the Old Testament are deduced from the first origins of the world, the chronicle of the Asiatic and Egyptian matters, together produced from the beginning of historical time up to the beginnings of the Maccabees, right? It sounds like a pack of nuts, to be honest, with the Maccabees. Do any of you know what the hell they are? Because the Maccabees are a load of Jewish rebels, right? That's what the Maccabees are, right? Never
King
come
David's
across them
time. King David's time.
Yeah.
That'll do, Anne. Thanks for that. See, eventually Andy's making a contribution into the lecture. It's good to hear his voice. Usher's work was his contribution to the long-running theological debate on the age of the earth. This was a major concern of many Christian scholars over the centuries. So this whole thing is to try and not whitewash the past, but to say, look at the past, let's chuck it all in, chuck the dinosaurs in, let's have a bit of Noah, let's have a bit of raping and pillaging, a bit of David, and we're going to chuck it all into one story. Sounds good to me. Or what we'll do at the same time, we'll put the ancient Egyptian pharaohs in there, a few pyramids, and things that go bump in the night. So the chronology is sometimes called the Usher-Lightfoot chronology because John Lightfoot published a similar chronology in 1642 to 1644. I bet you didn't know about Lightfoot.
No, we didn't.
You didn't. So in other words, the damnable Usher stole the carpet underneath from Lightfoot and stole all the glory, and it became Bishop's chronology. Bishop Usher's chronology. I still don't know what I'm talking about. This, however, is a misnomer, as the chronology is based on Usher's work alone and not that of Lightfoot. Is it? We don't really know what's going on here. But in other words, we got two chronologies that seem to be the same. And Usher said, it's all my idea, and Lightfoot probably said it was all his idea just a few years earlier. However, Usher deduced that the first day of creation, as we know, folks, was October the 23rd of 4004 years BC. Right? Yeah. Here, the autumnal equinox. Well, you've got to chuck that in there, haven't you? You've got to chuck a bit of an equinox in there. Lightfoot similarly deduced that creation began at nightfall near the autumnal equinox, but in the year 3929 BC. The weird thing is, right? The weird thing is, well, if these two people are working independently, they're more or less coming to a similar conclusion. Yeah, they're not too far out, are they?
Oh,
you two, shut up.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
You can apologise. Thank you. I accept your apology. So Usher's proposed date of 4004 years BC differed little from other biblical based estimates. Such as those of Jose Ben Hafta, who put, in other words, this guy had put the beginning of the earth back to 3,761 years BC, right? Hey, amazingly enough, a guy who none of you will have ever come across ever before in any of my lectures, the Venerable Bede, he actually put the beginning of the Earth as being 3,952 years BC. Now, this is Bede, quite a few years before this guy, Usher, right? And there's another guy who's writing at the same time, known as Scalinga. And Scalinga puts the date of around 3,949 years BC. Sir Isaac Newton, no less, of course, nobody's ever come across Sir Isaac Newton, the guy with the apple. He's a bit more sensible. He puts this foundation of the Earth at 4,000 years BC. It's nice to round things up, I think. It makes things easier. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you agree. Thanks. Usher was influenced by the same account. Now, the one thing as well is about dating the worldwide flood to 2,349 years BC. So what we'll do, we're going to go to the worldwide flood, right? There we go. We got a precise date for the flood. There we go. The flood in Genesis. I wish this was a bit more clearer, but who cares? So there we go. So the date that we've actually got is the worldwide flood was 2,349 years BC. And the massive interesting thing about 2,349 years BC was the precise date when the dinosaurs were all wiped out as well. So when you think about it, the dinosaurs only walked this earth for about just over 1,000 odd years, probably. So the one thing about all of this is the date of 4,000 years BC as the creation of Adam. So the Earth had already been around for 4 years. So Adam comes in. So this actually, what you could say is Isaac Newton was actually right. Because what Isaac Newton was basing everything on was the apple falling out of the tree, right? Adam and their creation, job done. Adam gets the apple, job done, and Eve's created. I love it. So the creation of where's Adam on this? Can you see Adam and Eve? There he is, Adam. He's down there.
Oh yes, there. Look.
I'm glad you found him. He's there. There he is, Adam.
They crossed it. Where's Eve?
There's Enoch.
Who actually cares about Eve? I don't.
They don't care about women. They had the same problem in those days.
Exactly, yeah, obviously.
Seth.
Yeah.
Where did they think all these people came from?
And the other thing, hang on, guys, hang on. You ladies are a bit sort of, you're wrong for the age, right? We've also got to be talking about LGBTQEF, whatever people. Transgender, right? They're in there as well. Don't forget the transgender people.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
I think Seth was one of those.
What, transgender?
I think so, yeah.
What, you got personal experience? You know him, do you?
I can just tell by the name and everything. He's got a list.
He's got a list. What? Hey, anyway, right. Oh, by the way, Baron Badger. By the way, we've got a few people watching online, including somebody by the name of Baron the Badger. Right, okay, let's try and make some sense of this. So we found Adam on the chronology, right?
Yeah.
Now, the date of 4,000 years BC, right, as the creation of Adam, was at least partially influenced by the widely held belief that the Earth was approximately 5,600 years old in, oh my God, in 1650, right? This just forget about that date. We're not even going to go there, right? And it's also based on the fact of Adam to Abraham, right? So we got to go all the way up here. Where's Abraham? Hang on. Where's Adam? Abraham? There he is. He's over there, Abraham. So there.
Do you know how many years they classed as a lifetime, as their generation? Because this was all just counted of somebody begetting somebody. So is it 25 years or 50? What were they working on?
Some of them lived for a lot. Noah was supposed to have lived for about 900 years.
Yes, but what I'm saying, so did they look at everybody's death length of life?
Yeah, hang on a minute, get this right. Adam therefore lived. Look at the length of time Adam lived.
30.
Well, he had to populate the world.
Adam, by the looks of it, lived 1,000 years. There's nothing wrong
Didn't
with
he say
that.
230 or something? Doesn't it say 230 or something? Or was it 930? Oh, it's 930.
130.
930. Wow. You must have
Yeah.
had a good diet.
Yeah, the one thing as well is the one thing
You sure that's what that is?
Star Wars. I think this is where they get Yoda and all the rest of it from. Because Yoda was 900 years old, wasn't he?
Ah.
Yeah.
Well, is that supposed to be the age there then?
930, yeah.
Or well, yeah. Well, you got 912, the next one. So that looks much more reasonable gap. So I don't know where that came from. I don't think it's ages, is it?
Yeah, yeah, there he is. 385 is Enoch.
Methuselah.
Enoch. He wasn't very successful. Abraham.
They do. It's a saying.
Yeah.
What? Look how old. There you go. Noah, 950 years old.
Bless him.
I don't think those are ages. I don't think so.
They are.
Really?
Oh, they are. That's what they claim. Yeah.
I mean, if that's their ages, then yeah. Well, it's even more nonsensical, isn't it?
Hang on a minute.
Richard Enos is there, I see.
Richard Enos.
Enos.
Yeah.
Oh, Enos.
I know.
Yeah.
Look, guys. Right. And right. I know you're skeptical, right? I know you don't believe in the flat Earth theory, right? But you've got a right not to believe in the flat Earth theory, right? But I haven't finished the lecture there. You're making two.
Well, I was just trying to understand how they worked out the length of each life to work out how long this time went. And if they were gauging every life on around 900 or 1,000, well, that would go a very long way, wouldn't it? Rather than the usual 25 to 30 years it would.
Yeah. Right. You're getting like the other Anne, right? Look. At the end of the day, right, Adam had come across a woman, Eve, right?
Yeah.
And he lived longer because he wasn't nagged to death, like modern women nag men to death, right? So the theory is what?
I thought she was one of his ribs.
Is that the real theory, the historical theory?
Yes.
One of his ribs, wasn't she?
Right, guys. Thank you. Right, hey, listen. Right, there's something else I got to tell you. Right, this is really massive. Right, so basically, right.
Yeah.
Oh God. So here we go. This all corresponds to the 6 days of creation. So two of those days of. So 6 days of creation. So over here somewhere, there's like, there we go, the 6 days of creation up in the top corner, Genesis 1 and 2. Right, look, guys, guys, whoever's watching this, it's not Genesis, the pop group. It's not album 1 or 2. It's Genesis in the Bible, right? Okay, good. There's nothing about Peter Gabriel or the other bloke. Right, so here we go. One day is with the Lord as 1,000 years. And 1,000 years as 1 day.
Ah, yes, I read that somewhere. Yes, right. That must be true then.
Like code.
Yeah, it's a bit like code, right? This tradition was believed to indicate that Jesus would return in AD 2000, right? More than 6,000 years after 4,004 years BC. Modern proponents of this interpretation hold that the creation date 404 BC could be inaccurate. Yeah.
Could be.
Just a little bit.
They probably use seasons rather than years then.
Can I just make a comment? Has everyone actually left this lecture by now? Because it's just like I got to be honest with you. If I've lost most of my students because of you, Andy, right, coming up with this lecture, right? Yeah. So what we're going to do, right? Look at this chart. Yeah, look at all the good stuff, all the stuff there. I'm glad that the Psalms, or the Psalms, as I used to call them, something to do with Israel, the judges, Joseph. There we go. This timeline was printed in Creation magazine to faithfully represent the details provided by Archbishop James Usher in the Annals of the World. His timeline was a statement about history.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
The big thing is, well, right, Would Liz Truss actually even have a mention on this chart? If you know,
What's it got to do with Susan?
Yeah,
James Usher.
Right, okay, guys, are we back to it? Good. The birth of Abraham, Genesis, the great flood. There we go. Jacob entered Egypt, the Exodus, and that's nothing to do with Bob Marley, by the way. It's all good stuff. It's the end of Babylonian captivity, the end of the reign of Zedekiah, the first temple destroyed. It's all there. You know, it's all there to be read. Oh, let's just get on to something else. Right. So actually this makes more sense, right? So there we go. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
This make more sense? Good. So Adam, there's Adam. We know precisely.
Yeah, Methuselah 1.
Yeah.
Right. How the hell? Hang on a minute. How that? These dates are slightly different from that. Am I losing the plot? Anyway, there's a different date for Adam there. There's Seth, right? Here we go. Adam was died in the year 3,181 years BC on the 14th of October 1250, and that's in Genesis. It's a fact. The chronologies of Usher and other biblical scholars correspond so closely because they use much the same method to calculate key events. Oh, stop. Hey, shut up, you two. Establishing the chronologies is complicated by the fact that the Bible was compiled by different authors over several centuries with lengthy chronological gaps, making it difficult to do a simple totaling of biblical ages and dates. In his article on Usher's calendar, a chap by the name of James Barr has identified 3 distinctive periods that Usher and others had to tackle. Are we going to do this now? I think we are. We got to look at the problems of this chronology and how they overcame the problems of chronology and how they prove that this is all for real. Creation to Abraham's migration, right? So here we go. So somehow, right, all of this, right, all the way down to Abraham, where there he is, Abraham, right? So this section is fairly easy to calculate using the chronological data in Genesis 5 and 11. So there we go, all the way to 5 and 11. We go Genesis right through albums 1 to 10, and we go to flood, Genesis 11. So it's easy to work that out if you religiously read the Bible as fact. There you go, which gives an unbroken male lineage. There you go, Gina. It's no point having female lineage on you because it's no good. You've got to have male lineage. With numbers of years from the creation to Abraham being called out of Ur, Usher used the chronology found in a text known as the Masoretic text instead of the alternate chronologies found in the works of Samaritan. Yes, there we go, Samaritan. Usher fixed this period as 2,082 years from 4,004 years to 1,922 BC. So somehow we got the length of the time from Adam all the way through to the length of Abraham. Is it making sense? I'm glad it is. So we're on to Abraham there. There he is on the chronology. Abraham is mentioned in Genesis 25:7. Abraham's migration to Solomon's temple. Usher wrote that the time from Abraham leaving Haran to the Exodus was 430 years, based on Abraham's descendants suffering a period of 400 years of persecution, commencing 30 years after Abraham left Haran. In the Old Testament, in Kings, states the 480 years elapsed from the Exodus to the beginning of the construction of Solomon's temple in the 4th year of Solomon's reign. Have we got Solomon on you? Where's Solomon? Where is he? Where is he?
Come, yeah.
Oh, so, yeah, he's actually not even on this list, but nobody cares, do they? Right. Anyway, he should be there. But anyway, we're just generally doing this. Foundations were laid 910 years after Abraham. Oh, then back to Abraham. Hang on, where is he? There he is. So right, get back to Abraham. So that's the year 2165 years BC, right? So 910 years. 910 years. So thus the temple foundations were laid 910 years after Abraham left Haran. These 910 years span from 1922 to 1012 years BC, which puts it nicely in the period of the Mycenaean, the Mycenaeans and all the rest of it. That's another lecture in the Mediterranean. Here we go. Period of the temple laid to Babylonian captivity. So the Babylonian stuff. This is where the Babylonian stuff comes in. This period is the most difficult to calculate due to repeated difficulties in correlating the years of the kingdoms of Judah and Israel. The simple addition of the reigns of Judah's kings results in a total of 430 years, but by positioning a few overlapping reigns, Usher shortened this to 424 years, to 1012 years, to 588 years BC. Are we getting it? I think everybody's completely glazed over at this point. Right. So looking at this again, right? And all these dates are no longer mean anything to us. So let's go back to the annals. Let's go back to the annals. Hang on, there we go. Nice bit of annals. Here's a few nice dates. Now this is actually there's some sense in this next stuff, right? After reckoning the years from the creation to the last kings of Judah, right, mentioned in the kings in the Old Testament, to establish the length of the time from the creation, the accession of Babylonian king Marduk. He then used, and then Usher used information from Babylonian, Greek, and Roman sources to fix the date of Marduk's enthronement at 562 years BC. This is the kingdom of Babylon, right? So the Babylonian stuff is where we're actually getting proper dates. This is where we're actually getting real proper dates now. This was the year after Nebuchadnezzar's death. So this is 562 years BC, from which he was able to deduce the creation of 4004 years BC. Job done. It can't be faulted. This is fact. Now, the next thing is fixing Jesus' date of birth. Let's just do it. We got to do Jesus' date of birth. Right, now there's a problem with Jesus' date of birth. Right, there he is. There we go. He does look fairly good looking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I like a bit. I like a bit of rough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you like a bit of rough? Okay. It fixed. Now this is now we've done all that stuff. Now everybody else has fallen asleep. Have you noticed, ladies? The boys. We haven't heard from the boys from the beginning of the lecture.
No.
Adam and Peter have just gone off to the pub. At this point, Peter's driven up to David so they can go down to the pub as well. So in fixing the date of Jesus' birth, Bishop took account of an error perpetrated by a certain writer Dionysius, the founder of the Anno Domini numbering system. So Dionysius of Exegeus came up with the Anno Domini numbering system. Now the thing is, right, this Dionysius Exegeus, he may as well just called it the Dionysius Exegeus numbering system. So we'd have called it the DE. So can you imagine how famous that person would be now? But, you know, that's life. So Usher chose 5 BC as Christ's birth date, birth year. So in other words, Dionysius was out because Josephus indicated the death of Harold the Great occurred in 4 BC. So in other words, so basically, Harold the Great death.
Who's Harold the Great?
What? Herod the Great. I did say Herod the Great. What?
Oh, Harold. It sounded like Harold.
No, I said Herod the Great.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Again.
Well, no, don't apologise, because last time I got it completely wrong. So you got a right to sort of question me. Right. Right. So anyway, so we got Herod the Great. Oh, Harold the Great. So basically, this works out because Jesus was born, right? Herod heard about this, and you've got all the the children being killed and whatever, right? So it's believed that Jesus was born a year before the death of Herod the Great, right? Meaning that Dionysus, his Anno Domini system, is out by about 5 years. So we've been using that system, knowing full well it's wrong, right? But we're still using it. Thus, for the Gospel of Matthew to be correct, Jesus could not have been born after that date. So in other words, now this is rather interesting, right? So we've continued to perpetrate this fact of Jesus Christ's birth being wrong. Do you know what I mean? It's just that we keep getting this thing wrong. We know it's wrong. And yeah, we go. The season in which creation occurred was the subject of considerable theological debate in Usher's time. So we've got to work out the season, right, that the earth was created, right? Adam, do you want to take a guess on which season the earth was created?
Spring.
No, I already told you earlier on. It's autumn.
Autumn.
Correct. Thanks for that. Remember, it was the 23rd, 22nd of October, depending on which one you want to go with. The start. So
does that not depend on which hemisphere you're in, though?
Yeah.
Hang on a minute. Hang on, Andy. Right. Hey, Australia never existed. It's not even on the maps. It was just created. Right. So shut up. And Africa didn't exist either. So many scholars proposed it had taken place in the spring. However, the start of the Babylonians, others including Usher, thought it's more likely that it occurred in autumn. So the earth was created in autumn, right?
How could there have been seasons before the earth was created?
Well,
surely,
hang on.
Surely,
have you
it's
ever heard the Mungo Jerry song? We had fun in the sun. That's yeah. Yeah. So in other words, right? It was definitely autumn because God, right? God has autumn, summer, and spring, right? And we don't because we're not created, right? So largely because that season marked the beginning of the Jewish year. Oh Christ! Right. Let's carry on.
Was everybody a Jew?
Hang on. We've got to carry it down to a Sunday.
Oh, Sunday.
Time. What time?
Well, hang on a minute. Give me a bit of a break. Right? Thank you. Midday. It was.
Midday
It's midday.
Sunday.
That's for Mary.
Yeah, on Sunday, midday. Right, here we go. So Asher further narrowed down the date. Andy's regretting I ever did this lecture now. Asher further narrowed down the date by using the Jewish calendar to establish the first day of creation as falling on a Sunday near the autumnal equinox. Do you know what? This stuff, even the illustrations, just get the book for the illustrations, even if you don't believe any of it. So it's beautiful, isn't it? Look at that. Look at that guy there.
Yeah.
There he is. Cyrus the Great. There he is.
Well, they were.
Cyrus the Great.
They were.
There's Cyrus the Great. You got, and there's the Last Supper. There's Andy in the middle with a halo over his. The day of the week was a backwards calculation from the 6 days of creation, with God resting on the seventh, which in the Jewish calendar is Saturday. Hence, creation began on a Sunday. The astronomical tables that I should probably use
weren't they supposed to
were something known as the Rudolphine tables, 1627. Using them, he would have concluded that the equinox occurred on Tuesday, October the 25th, only one day earlier than the traditional day of its creation. On the fourth day of creation week, Wednesday, along with the sun, moon, and stars, Genesis 1, modern equations place the autumnal equinox of 4004 years BC on Sunday, October the 23rd by the Julian calendar. There you go. We don't want to use a Gregorian. We've got to use a Julian. And also, God favored the Julian calendar, not the Gregorian calendar. Don't you forget it. Usher's understanding of creation placed the first day referred to in Genesis 1 on October the 23rd, but with a pre-creation event. So in other words, which he identified as the beginning of time occurring the previous night. Yeah, good.
Very quick.
What? Well, you got to have a bit of a party, haven't you?
Yeah.
Usher referred to his dating, right? And don't get this wrong. It's not like, internet dating or anything. It's like proper dating. Usher referred to his dating of creation on the first page of Annals in Latin. So there we go. Oh, hang on. We've got to get the Latin stuff because Latin was the language of God. Right. It's true. And on the first, there it is. And it was translated. Oh, we got to do the English version. Hang on a minute. The English. That's not the bloody. Where's the English version? Oh, Usher. Yeah, there we go. The English version. There. On the 5th day. Sure. This was printed in 1658. It was such a popular read, right, that it was translated into every language on the planet, including Aboriginal, by the year 1658. In the following extract from the English translation, the phrase "in the year of the Julian calendar," because it's God's language, refers to the Julian period, of which year 1 is 4,713 years BC, and therefore, what? Oh, I've glazed over a minute. Anyway, and therefore year 710 is year 4,004 years BC. Does that make sense?
No.
No.
No,
None of
it
it
don't.
makes much sense.
Hang on a minute. Oi! Shut up. The best stuff, the best statements to come, right? So there we go. The best statement is on its way. Not yet. We could do it in a minute. In the beginning, right? Here we go. We're going to do it. Hang on. We got to get into God's voice. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. In Genesis 1. That's it.
Yeah.
Do you like that? Good.
Marvelous.
The beginning of time, according to our chronology, happened at the start of the evening preceding the 23rd day of October in the year of the Julian calendar. Here we go. Usher provides a slightly different time in his epistle to the readers. It is Latin and English works. So this is Usher, right? Are we listening? Right, we've got to do a bit of Usher now. Top of the world here, sir. I deduce that the time from the creation until midnight, January the 1st, 1 AD, was 4,003 years, 70 days and 6 hours. 6 hours before midday would be 6 p.m. Oh, for God's sake. This says 4,003. Oh, please. I don't want to do any more. I really don't. Right, okay. We've really come to the end of this bit, right? And then we're going to do a bit of Neolithic after the break. Do you know what, right? Can I just say something, right? Do you know what? That guy, we got a lot to thank him for.
Yeah.
He's mentioned in all my lectures. Baron Badger's buggered off, right? You remember Baron Badger online, have you? Right, good.
Yeah.
Usher's chronology today. Right, here we go. And right, we've got another statement in Irish being read out by someone. Right, here we go. By the middle of the 1800s, Usher's chronology came under increased attack from aliens. Attack.
Aliens.
Do you want some water?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Right.
Aliens.
No. Let's just read that again. Usher's chronology came under increasing attack from, wait for it, from supporters of uniformitarianism.
Oh, dear.
Right? Uniformitarianism, right?
Yeah.
Who argued that Usher's young Earth was incompatible with the increasingly accepted views of an Earth much more ancient than Usher's.
Mhm.
It became generally accepted that the Earth was tens, perhaps even thousands of millions of years old.
Mm.
Usher fell into disrepute. Oh God! Usher fell into repute among theologians as well. In 1890, Princeton's professor William Henry Green wrote a highly influential article in Bibliothèque Sacra entitled Primeval Chronology, in which he strongly criticized Usher. He concluded, "Oh, we got to get a Yankee accent. Hang on. Oh, I wish I was in a land." Oh, that's a blaming. Okay. Oh, hang on. Oh, I got to get into it. You smoked your shit to escape from reality. Oh, that'll do. We conclude that the scriptures furnish no data for a chronological computation prior to the life of Abraham. And that the most, oh, he's got into a Dorset accent. Oh, for God's sake. Right, okay, this guy is from Cornwall. Right, good. We conclude that the scriptures furnish no data for a chronological computation prior to the life of Abraham. And the Mosaic records do not fix and were not intended to fix a precise date either of the flood or of the creation of the world. Oh, I should give up smoking. I don't even smoke. Right, okay, let's just, oh, we don't want a bit of that. Let's just, we're loving this. You know, I can remember this being, oh, that's even better, isn't it? That perfect. You know, why hasn't he had a shave?
Yeah, and what's she doing with her hand?
And I gotta be honest with you, Andy, right? Andy,
Okay.
shut up. Andy, that's just crude, right? The one thing as well is, right, has she got under her arm? You know, she got hair under her armpits. That's the question. Because he hasn't got hair under his armpits.
It's just a shadow.
Is it?
Is she wearing what they got on the legs?
They haven't got anything on their
Thank
legs.
you.
No, they've got
naked.
green bits, green
said-
something over the legs.
Yeah, but look, guys.
Got some
can we just
leaves
get
on or
this-
something.
Anne, let's get this straight, right? There's no Marks and Spencers then, so they can't buy clothes.
No, but
There's
they
a
might
so
bank
you
road
go.
nearby,
use
isn't
a
it?
few leaves.
Leaves. Archbishop Usher's chronology has in recent years been subject to criticism.
Oh,
I don't know
really?
why. In the
Oh,
play Inherit the Wind, based on the Scopes Monkey Trail, and the fantasy novel Good Omens, which alleges that it is inaccurate by almost a quarter of an hour. Oh,
Abel
right.
was
So
first
it
marked
should have been 11:30
at
then.
1:29 a.m. perhaps.
Yeah. Shut up.
Really?
What?
At 1:29 a.m. perhaps.
Yeah. Well, it 1:29.
Stop the
This is
middle
What
what
it
of
says
the
at the top, yeah.
About
one-
1:29 a.m. perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because it may have been something to do with the light, you know, calendars and stuff. A different viewpoint comes from Stephen Jay Gould, who, while totally disagreeing with Usher's chronology, nevertheless wrote this. And this is the last statement. What action should we take? Liverpudlian, eh? I shall be defending Usher's chronology as an honourable effort for his time and arguing that our usual ridicule only records a lamentable small-mindedness based on mistaken use of present criteria to judge a distant and different past. Usher represents the best of scholarship and his time. He was part of a substantial research tradition, a large community of intellectuals working towards a common goal under an accepted methodology. Therefore, Liverpool's much better than Everton at any time. So I thought I'd mention about Stephen
That was
J.
good.
Yeah, I thought, yeah, well, you know, Everton's no good as a football team anyway, is it?
Usher would have been an Everton fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
True.
would have been, because he was Protestant, and yeah, exactly. Oh God, do you know what? Mike? Do you know what, Mike? If anyone ever asked me to do a lecture like that again, right, I'm leaving. That's it.
But
So-
then again, it was a very important lecture because so many people believed it and still do in some cases.
Exactly.
It is.
So many people still believe.
Sorry.
The problem is Adam has now got to pack in his degree because his whole degree was based on the facts of Bishop Usher. And so we'll look at a few images, right? That is got to be the best ever. There you go. 1:30 a.m. Adam talked with Seth.
How did they know that? They didn't have a clock.
Well, I don't know. They must have been, if they could live to 930 years.
Hey, guys, Andy, you've missed something, right? Have you noticed?
I
Right?
know something or
Have
other.
you noticed? It's the 24-hour clock.
Oh, so it's the 13th. But it's
No,
It'll mean
if it's in the afternoon, it would be 13:30 p.m., wouldn't it?
Yeah.
it'll be anno something.
Oh, so it's in the morning. Right.
Yeah, it's in the morning. Yeah, 1:30. He's up a bit early. It's amazing, isn't it? The date of birth and the age about 1:29 a.m. perhaps.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Learned to talk quick, didn't he?
It really is.
Yeah.
They did. A woman created marriage. There we go. I'll tell you what, Andy, have you noticed?
Really? Why?
Women created marriage.
No.
It's what it says. It's true.
Women created marriage instituted.
That's
When was that in the calendar? When that happened?
Well, that's quite early on, isn't it?
That's chapter 2 of Genesis.
Yeah.
That's chapter 2 of Genesis.
I mean, don't forget, he did have whatever, how many hundred kids? I can't remember.
Yeah, more than
Noah had 500.
Really?
Yeah, well, yeah.
It begetted a lot, didn't
So,
he?
so
Yeah,
what we
did.
got to do? What we got to do? We got to do a bit of this. We got to do a bit of this. Seth is born. Hang on. Hang on. Here we go. Corruption in religion by idolatry begun, and there we go. And whenever that is, I can't even. Yeah, Jared born when they still a defending from evil to work. Do you know what? Right? Yeah. Let's just move on. So this guy, right, is a revolutionary, right? He is. Yeah, the Archbishop Usher, right? And see it as this was. Oh, there we don't want to do that. See it as right. The Song of Solomon's. They even had songs. It's great.
It's quite astonishing, isn't it, that it even 200 years later, it's still revolutionary to even question this chronology. Yeah.
This is actually still out there, Andy. People.
Yeah.
Still
it is. That's why it's so important. Yeah.
That's why it is important, because people obviously would have believed it then more so, and still believe it today, in spite of all the sort of sense that would say it can't be at all right. So
people massively believe it today. It's like huge. So
it is a part of the religion, isn't it? As I said, there's this. I forget which town it is in America, but they've got a museum where it's all about this, and they've got the dinosaurs and the people together, and it's all happened in the last 5,000 years. So and people go and believe that, and it's amazing that. If they're a museum, usually telling you something truthful, isn't it?
Well, I'm going to make a prediction, right? That the United States elections was rigged last time, so next time it's going to be rigged, so Donald Trump wins.
No doubt. I wouldn't be at all surprised.
I've just thrown you all now. I've sort of brought some I've brought some reality back to the subject. Good, I'm glad.
Well,
Right, so
as Carl said right at the very beginning, my grandson was going into the British Museum, following a group of Americans, an American family,
from
and
California.
they came to the dinosaur skeleton, and the boy said, "Oh, look at that, Dad! How old is that?" And the dad said to the son, "In all honesty, it can only be 6,000 years, no more."
Yeah.
And they actually believed that.
Yeah, yes, they do. I say there's lots of people in the world still do. And
Oh,
it's
yes.
just so, and it's amazing how, well, religion is just faith, isn't it? And it never needs any evidence. So
No.
they deny evidence at
Yeah.
any stage of any kind of religion, really.
No, I have a good friend that believes it. She doesn't
Does she?
question it at all. I've just discovered this recently. I had to lift my jaw off the ground.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Unbelievable.
kept that quiet, Drina.
I think with the one thing I was surprised at in this, because before when I thought he was doing this, working it back from the generations, that he was using a sensible time lock. A generation is 25 to 35 years, something like that. But if he's looking at 930 years for some and 200 and something, you know, then that was a ridiculous lifetime. So it did the whole thing. It even didn't go further than that. It didn't even have a sensible.
Well, they come from the Bible, though, don't they? Those
Right.
those
Yes.
those ages come from the Bible, so he has to use the ones that he found.
The ones are in the Bible, yeah. How come they didn't look at that at the world about them and notice people didn't live? Nobody lived that long.
Maybe they did live that
Nobody.
long.
The excuse is that it's an interpretation and that it might not represent years as we know them now. But then, they would say that, wouldn't they? So
yeah, well, that's right. But if it's not representing years, how can they then put dates on?
Exactly.
It just is ridiculous. The whole
it would be
thing.
even shorter if it's real.
Yeah.
Yes,
it would.
Oh my God!
If I got it like about every 30 years for a generation, it would have been
Stop
about
it, Andy.
1,000 years ago.
What I want to do now is I want to hear from everybody that we haven't heard from for the past 4 hours. Right, Pat, anything you'd like to say? She's falling asleep. Pat!
Sorry. I don't think I'm interested in this topic much.
But we are gonna go straight to the Neolithic now after the break. So there we go. Right, Adam, anything you'd like to say, lovely?
Hello. You mentioned that he was connected some way to Cromwell. Do you know the relationship between him and Cromwell?
I think we could certainly look that up. I'm gonna have a quick look at that now.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know.
Yes, and whether there is another underlying reason.
Wasn't that period?
Yeah, something a bit sinister about it.
Being the child.
Yes. That's a really good question. So
Yes, it is.
because he was the primate of all Ireland, and he would have only been able to do that with Cromwell's permission.
Yeah.
So what have we got? Usher. So here we go. Usher left Ireland for England. Basically, this war. After Usher lost his home and income through the Irish uprising. Right. Parliament voted him a pension. Right. So in other words, Cromwell wasn't too happy with the Irish, and without looking anymore, you can work out that because he's basically got the support of Cromwell, he's able to go over to Ireland, and this looks like he's some kind of puppet of Cromwell, and that might influence what Usher's doing. That might influence his way of thinking. It might not, but that quickly looking at this, that's what that says to me. Adam, a bit more research on that, but that's what that says to me. Right, okay, yes. David, what's that? Right,
cheers.
okay. Yeah, good. David, anything you want to say quickly before we go on to the Neolithic after the break?
Absolutely not. Thank you.
Okay. And finally, Peter C.
Only to echo what the last chap that you quoted. I think, considering the time and the data available, I think it's an pretty incredible piece of work to put together.
Yes.
Any of the medieval chroniclers that came before him, all of them started out with this many years from creation, so it would have been expected to follow on in that sort of tradition as well. But yeah, I think, I mean, an incredible piece of work, just going, you know, because you know, a lot of the limited with the text that he had available, the translations he had available, and then also being a Christian, you know, limited by his own ideology, I think is still quite an amazing thing to come up with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know we've been massively critical, and it's been a bit of fun along the way, and then Pat fell asleep. But but yeah, I do agree with you, and I do concur that it's very difficult to put your mind into his mind. But I'm gonna make a statement here that you might not feel is relevant, but it's massively relevant. I'm finding that we've got a massive information overload in regards to history and archaeology, and the discipline of archaeology and history is now really, really suffering. And it's well, I'm now going more back to books and stuff that has been printed rather than stuff that's on the internet. Now, there is a link between what I've just said, because Bishop Usher is actually trusting what he can see in front of him, not hearsay. And the internet is hearsay. The internet is invented. You know, it is an overload. And I think Usher is warning us that where he might have got his facts wrong, and obviously we accept that he got his facts wrong. He was basing that on learned literature. He could have got it way out if he would have agreed with hearsay and other things like that. So I see what you're saying, Peter, but I think we should be very, very wary of information overload at this present moment in time. So yeah. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a break there. We're going to have a 5-minute break. I'm going to refresh everything. We're going to come off YouTube and we're going to come back on. We're going to be 5 minutes and we'll come back with the Neolithic. I'll speak to you in a minute, guys.
Okay.
What would you like to drink?
I'm all right with water.
Are you sure?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, we'll just have some whiskey, loves. Don't worry about it.
Just a glass of water. I'm fine with what I've got.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. No, the last time I saw my old school friend Christine,
anyone on YouTube, anyone on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you very much. I'm closing this thing off. Carry on, girls.